Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and in this video I'm going to be listing off my top 5 favorite albums from 1984. Now, 1984 is probably my favorite year for metal. A lot of really good releases came out that year. Some absolutely legendary ones as well. But yeah, so with that, let's begin. My number 5 is Power Slave by Iron Maiden. It's a bit overrated in my opinion. I mean, but that doesn't mean it's a bad album. I do think there are better Iron Maiden albums than this, but, you know, there's still some really great songs on here. Ace is High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Power Slave, and Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner are all great songs. The only reason why it's a little bit lower on this list is because the absolutely aggravatingly boring songs in the middle of this album. Lost for Words, Flash of the Blade, The Duelists, and Back in the Village are so boring to the point where I never listen to those songs. I just skip over them every single time I listen to this album. But yeah, despite having a very boring midsection of this of the track listing, again, the first two and last two songs totally make up for it. But yeah, that's at my number 5. Number 4. Number 4, I'm kind of cheating a bit. This is an EP, not a full-length album, but I love this thing so much I had to put it on this list, and that's Haunting the Chapel by Slayer. Honestly, there's not a bad song on here. All 4 songs are great, although I do think Chemical Warfare is a bit overrated, but that doesn't make it a bad song at all. If I had to pick one song on here to be my absolute favorite, I'd say Aggressive Perfector. Definitely something that really sounds like it would be from Show No Mercy. But yeah, just a very, very good EP, and it's at my number 4 spot. Number 3 is arguably one of the best debut albums of all time, and that's Wasp's self-titled debut album. Now, originally when I first listened to this for the very, very, very first time, I did not like most of the songs on here, but I've grown to love almost all of them, except for Bad and the cover song Paint It Black. But yeah, there's so many great songs on here. If I had to pick just my top 3, I'd say Animal, Fuck Like a Beast, Hellion, and probably The Torture Never Stops. Yeah, I mean, there's so many great songs, it's just really hard for me to pick just 3. But yeah, very, very solid debut album, and yeah, it's at my number 3 spot. Number 2 is an extremely underrated album, in my opinion, one of the best debut albums of all time, and that's Fistful of Metal by Anthrax. Yeah, I am not a fan of the Joey Bonadella stuff. I think that era of Anthrax is extremely overrated, and all in all, really not that good. But this album is fantastic. Neil Turbin is, in my opinion, one of the best thrash metal vocalists of all time. And the production is really gritty, really raw. I love it. Yeah, just some really great songs on here. Death Rider, Metal Thrashing Mad, Subjugator, Death from Above, Anthrax, and Howling Furies. Howling Furies is probably the most underrated Anthrax song ever. If I had to pick my top 3 favorites on here, I'd say Death Rider, Death from Above, and Howling Furies. But yeah, all in all, a very, very, very underrated album. I absolutely love it, and it's at my number 2 spot. Alright, number 1, my favorite album from 1984. Defenders of the Faith. I mean, this is, in my opinion, their best 80s album. I don't think any other 80s album really matches up to this one in terms of Judas Priest stuff. Their very first 80s album, what was it? British Steel, that's the one, sorry. For some reason, I always forget the placement of that particular album, in terms of where it is in terms of the chronologically in the 80s stuff. I don't know why. But, yeah, British Steel, pretty overrated, but I mean, it is definitely a decent album with a few really good songs on it. Then the other album, what is the name of that album? There's one album I always forget the name of. What was it? I don't know. I forgot what the album name was that came after that, but I think that's, pretty decent as well. Screaming for Vengeance is very overrated and all in all not really a good album. I think Hellion / The Electric Eye is probably the only good song on that album. And then the albums after this, Turbo, extremely underrated, and Ram It Down, also extremely underrated. But like I said, I don't think any of their other 80s albums really match up to the greatness of Defenders of the Faith. Just some really amazing songs on here. And also one of the most underrated Judas Priest songs with the song Love Bites. Very great, very cool vampire themed song. Now, if I had to pick my top 3 off of this one, I'd say, Free Will Burning, The Sentinel, and Love Bites. But yeah, just all a very amazing album, and it's at my #1 spot for my favorite album of 1984. So, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.